Is short selling halal? Short selling is a way to make money from falling prices by selling borrowed assets in hopes of being able to buy them back for cheaper prices and returning them. So instead of the traditional approach of buying low and selling high, the short seller is trying to sell high and then buy back low. In Islam, gambling, or Al-Maisir, is prohibited because it creates risk without producing anything useful, and it's zero sum, which creates enmity between participants. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the generous Quran, translated into English about Al-Maisir, Satan wants to create enmity and hatred between you through intoxicants and Al-Maisir, or gambling, and to avert you from the remembrance of Allah and from prayer. So will you abstain from these things? Short selling is similar to gambling because it does exactly the things that gambling does. It creates risk without the prospects of anything useful being created, and it's financially zero sum because one party's gain is the other party's loss, and this creates enmity between market participants. So what do I mean by this? Well, in a normal trade, when Adam sells Fatima shares of Tesla, let's say, the risk of these shares is transferred from Adam to Fatima. So there's no new risk created in the market. It was just transferred from one party to the other. On the other hand, let's say Bob, the short seller, comes along and borrows Adam's Tesla shares and sells them to Fatima. Well, now all three participants in this transaction hold the risk of the same Tesla shares. So Adam is still the owner of these Tesla shares, so he holds the price risk of these shares. Bob, the short seller, also holds the price risk of these shares because he has to buy them back eventually and return them to Adam. And Fatima also holds the price risk of these shares because she bought something that was borrowed. So you can see how the risk in the marketplace has increased dramatically without anything useful being created. Not only this, but Bob the short seller is hoping Adam and Fatima's shares go down in price so he can buy these shares back for cheaper than what he sold them for and return them. Adam and Fatima, on the other hand, are hoping their shares go up in price and for short sellers like Bob to lose money. So you have the creation of risk with no prospects of creating any product or service, along with sowing animosity between market participants, precisely what Islam tries to avoid with its prohibition of Al-Maisir. And therefore I find short selling not to be a legitimate form of trade, but rather a form of prohibited Al-Maisir, and therefore I assess short selling to be haram. And of course Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. If you'd like me to teach you how to navigate the markets in a halal conscious way, check out the link in the bio.